Good morning and welcome to episode 2 of Mourning, Brew and our spoonful of joy.
Absolutely. I'm the spoon.
She's the spoon and I'm the Mourning Brew. So today we're going to talk about services and the different types of services that we can have. So we're just going to do this in sort of like a nice conversational way like we normally do. It's informal.
It is.
So I'm going to ask you, Lindsey, we talked about this earlier on just before we started filming. So I've been in the office with you when I've maybe just interviewed a family and they can get a knock on the door, can't you? Do you want to sort of talk us through like a family and what that can look like?
People can just randomly turn up, knock on the door without an appointment. The loved one's passed away. So obviously, as we're going to talk about services today, I'll skip through some of the bits, but we'll get the family in, we'll sit them down, and we'll always ask the family, would you like a religious service or a celebration of life? Or, was the deceased a religious person?
Yeah.
And you'll find these days 99% of people go for a celebration of life.
Yeah.
Which I get because it's about that person and
exactly. I mean,
it's their life.
But the amount of people they'll say they think I'm a minister. A lot of the time they'll go, oh, are you the minister? And I go, no, I'm not a minister. And I go, and they call me a humanist. And I'm not a humanist neither, because humanist services don't have anything religious.
Absolutely.
No religious connotation. So when I say I'm a celebrant, but I have been told I'm a celibate, I'm like, no, I'm not a celebrant. I'm a celebrant. I'm a celebrant. And I think a lot of people still don't know what that is.
They don't, to be fair, and then you can explain to them that obviously I know you'll do the Lord's Prayer, whereas a humanist wouldn't.
No,
there'd be no chance of that. But yeah, so 99% of the time, it's a celebrant we use. That's why I use you, Jane.
I know.
Yeah, it's very good.
Thank you. She was a tough cookie to crack, this one.
Yeah, right. I wasn't.
When I knew I was going to go into this role, I did the old-fashioned cold calling, knocking on directors' doors, going, "Hi, I'm Jane."
I can't remember this.
I remember it so well. I went in and I was like, "Hi, I'm Jane." And
did Adrian let you in?
Adrian let me in, but I've been in once. But I came in twice.
So Adrian's the owner.
Yeah, of AF White, and so I knocked on the door and I was like, "Oh, I'm a celebrant," and you was like getting ready for a funeral because you were getting your clothes on, and you went. Yeah, we have celebrants knocking all the time. We get loads of celebrants coming in all the time. So I was like, well, can I just leave you my folder? You went, I think I've got it, because
I did have it.
Yeah, because Angela, who was newly started, I had a connection with because I knew her from the cricket club years ago.
So Angela's one of our funeral directors.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my gosh. So when I knocked on the door, I wasn't expecting to see Angela.
Yeah.
So I left my card and he was like, oh yeah, I think I've got your card. And but we get people in all the time, so I was like, well, it's okay, I'll just leave my card. And off I went, and I went over to Denton, where Bo was at the time.
So Bo was another one of our funeral directors.
Yeah, and I knocked on the door, and I didn't know the links or anything then, and I just hit it off with her right away, and she was like, oh my God, she went, I can just tell you're going to be a really good celebrant. She went, you need to go back to AF White and you need to tell Lindsey that I've sent you in. I was like, okay. So off I went back and you was like, oh right, okay, well go on then. And then a couple of days later you phoned me and was like, right, I'm going to give you a go. I'm going to see what you like. And now
now I don't use anybody else if I can help it. Obviously, I know.
We just hit it off, haven't we?
We really have. She is now my work wife. Yeah.
I sent you a birthday card with wife on as well.
I know, she's weird.
But we did, and I just thought it was just like when people say, oh, you bump into your life partner or somebody like that, your relationship just developed, and we've just got so much in common.
We have.
So much in common.
We have.
And it's just
lovely. And we work really well together, which is great, obviously. So when it's coming down to the service and everything else. But you know what I've found as well? A lot of people, we're going back to taboo again, but this is the funeral industry for you. After the service has taken place and you've done the service and we'll come outside and family and friends will say, that was wonderful. And then we'll get the family in to come and collect the ashes, or some families just, if it's a burial, they come back, which is really nice, to give a card and say thank you.
Yeah.
And they'll sit down and they'll say, you know what, I can't remember the service.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have had it videoed or recorded. Do you think that's strange? No, I don't think that's strange.
No.
Not in the slightest. I remember my dad's funeral. I blink. I remember being in a church. I cannot even remember going to the crematorium.
So many families say that to us,
Honestly,
don't they, afterwards, when they come out and they say, it was just a blur. I remember being at the door, then I remember being sat down, then the next minute I was outside. And I don't remember it.
I don't even remember his flowers
Yeah.
on his coffin. I don't remember my mum's. And I'd sadly lost my brother. I do not. I remember pulling up at the creme.
I don't remember
and that's
my mum's.
it.
Yeah, I don't remember my mum's funeral. I know I got up to speak, and it was all colourful. And I remember getting out of the car, seeing one of my best friends there, and they just thinking, seeing familiar faces and seeing people there really brought a lot of comfort to me, because I thought these people cared about my mum.
I know.
And it did bring a lot of comfort, and they didn't really know my mum, but they were there for me as well. And I had a lot of value. There was so much value in that. Like, death can weed people out who are not necessarily, you think you're friends and they're not. And then going in, and I remember speaking, and I just remember saying this one line, like my mum used to always go, "Eric," to my dad, and I must have said it, and everyone just started laughing. And weirdly enough, and I spoke at my sister's, but that was in COVID, so it was a completely different vibe. But I don't remember my sisters. I just don't remember that. And I think your brain does something where you literally just go.
Honestly, so many families say, I wish I'd have had it recorded.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Lindsey, because we have got somebody today who is going to talk to us about this.
Yes.
And I think again, we're talking about death, and we're talking about all different aspects and trying to break down the taboo subject. So we've got Jonathan.
Here he is.
Hello, Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
He was really reluctant about this. He was like, I ain't being on camera.
I'm not used to, I'm not behind the camera. So.
Are you not today?
No, you're not today. So, Jonathan, like you've helped us with Mourning Brew, which we're so grateful for, because we got in contact with you and said, look, we've got this project, and we want to film and want to do this podcast, and we want to get out there. And the link was because I was the celebrant for your dad's funeral.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then we kind of linked up through TikTok, through TikTok, which I love. And then we got talking, and then we were saying about services, like you just don't remember the service, and you have filmed services, haven't you? Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
So I started doing live streaming nearly 3 years ago, and it's mainly for like local authorities meetings and things. But then someone did ask me if you do it for funerals. It was actually a celebratory event, not even at the church or anything. It was a few months later. And it was quite elaborate. They had music, they had bands on, bands playing. They had
nice.
Really symbolic, like it was the ashes of the person present. So, but it was like in the centre of the room and in an urn. And I've done quite a few mainly for the same church over in Littleborough in Rochdale. And probably the thing that most people are surprised is they don't even notice them there. They don't notice the cameras, because the cameras are quite small. Yeah. As you can look at them now, they're quite unobtrusive, I suppose you could say. So I've done quite a few of those, and I do kind of enjoy it. I mean, it's a privilege to like capture that, because it's a difficult day. It's emotional. Yeah. And some people don't want people's faces on; they just want the back of the church, and that's fine. Yeah. Other ones, there was one for a young man that I did who sadly died in New Zealand, and he was he couldn't be repatriated over; it was just too expensive. So his funeral had taken place in New Zealand, but he had family and friends mainly in New Zealand, Australia, I think some in Asia. So it was terrifying, because I knew that they would all, not only were they all watching, but they're all staying up. And this is like 11 o'clock in the morning. So people have been staying up, and it's like, I really hope it works, as in there's no technical problems. Yeah. So that probably was the most nerve-wracking, but also it was quite nice, because there's a lot of young people there as well.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of funerals, you know, life is, it tends to be older people, so it's good that there's a lot of young people that were attending.
I mean, honestly, the amount of different ages and different amount of people at funerals, but do you think it's becoming more common that people do want it video? Do you find that people say to you, I'm so glad that it was video because I can't remember it at all?
I think it's how it comes about is because there's relatives that are in another part of the world.
As well.
And for what it costs to live broadcast a funeral is far less than most plane tickets. So I think quite often someone may say, well, actually, we weren't able to attend. Is there any way you could live stream it and we'll cover the costs of it? And as I say, it's not much. So I think sometimes people, because they want to be there, but they also want to be there when it happens. So the next best thing. And I think since COVID, we've all got a lot more.
Definitely. Like, because you can have a webcast, can't you, at the crematoriums? You can have a webcast or you can have it, like, recorded. But when we've watched your videos of the funeral, they're more bespoke, aren't they? So you've got, like, the pictures, and it's almost like you're telling the story of somebody's life, which is a beautiful keepsake for, like, grandchildren. And when somebody's stood up and they're talking about them lives, you've got the family history, which nobody would really talk about, and you've got it as a keepsake.
Yeah, to show the children and as they grow as well,
I just showed you one that was the young man who died in New Zealand, and I've not really, only because we're showing it, but I've not really looked at the numbers of how many have watched it. Now, that's an unlisted, it's on YouTube, but it's unlisted, which means nobody knows it's there unless they literally have got the link. And the only reason why they'd have the link is because a family member's shared it or a friend.
Yeah.
And that's been watched 611 times. So, which isn't on YouTube, I mean, compared to having millions of views, but this is a private, personal event. But those family and friends watched it 600 times because they can. And I was a bit blown away by that. I've never looked at the figures before. In fact, I thought maybe they did ask me to put it live, public, and it's not public. So. That's a lot of people have chosen to watch that again. And that's good because it means they're obviously getting more out of it, but also it's got some significance.
And this is what we talked about in the last episode, which I think will be a thread that comes up all the time. It's like when somebody has passed away, I remember being like this with my mum. It was like they was here and I could hear the voice and I could physically touch them, and then I can't. And so to have something that is like a ritual, you know, a goodbye, I think it's really important, and that shows on them views that people have actually wanted to take the time and sort of have that connection.
Oh, it is definitely, I think, only from my personal experience. I mean, when I lost my loved ones, family members, I wasn't in the funeral industry. But looking back now, if I could just sit and watch all 3 of those funerals, I most definitely would. And not only that, I don't even know who turned up. I know my immediate family was there. It's just all such a blur. I'd love to, and I'd be quite privileged to watch it and just say, oh look, such a body was there, and oh, weren't that nice?
And it's like watching old family videos, isn't it? You go, oh, they passed away. Don't you? When you're watching family videos, you're like, oh, they passed.
It's
like, and it's like watching an old wedding.
It's like watching old episodes of Blankety Blank and you think, oh, the parents, they've died. At my dad's funeral, there was someone who I was really honoured that they'd attended, and it was someone that I'd been in a previous relationship with. And he didn't say he was going to come to the funeral, but he did. And me being me, I'm not scared to look around. It's just what I'm used to. That's what I do as a living, is looking around all the time. But if I hadn't have turned around and looked, I mean, obviously my dad's funeral wasn't live streamed, but I knew he was there. But I can see that why, especially if it's a big congregation,
definitely,
to not realise someone's actually attended. A bit like the film Muriel's Wedding. You've seen the film Muriel's Wedding? Where a mum turned up at the wedding, but she didn't realise she was even there until she passed away. But it's a good point actually.
It is, and I think with that as well, it can go into sort of like disenfranchised grief, because there's so many funerals. So say you've been married and then you get divorced, like you just mentioned, you know, it was a previous partner, and then like an in-law dies. You've had a relationship with them and you think, you've got the question, do I go? Do I not? Would I be welcome? Would I not?
Am I doing the right thing?
Am I doing the right thing? What I don't want to, when somebody's already emotionally and upset, that to look round and, you know, depending on how the breakup's been or whatever, or even if we're talking about life here, somebody might have been having an affair with somebody, you know, and we've seen it all. We get to see it, and we get to see these people who then contacted us and say, look, I've been the other person, and, you know, and they've got this disenfranchised grief. So, but having it filmed where you could actually watch it would mean that they could actually go to a service and see it as recorded, and there'd be some connection without all that emotion. And they might just think, you know what, I'm not going to go, but I know I've got the availability to watch it.
Absolutely. And hopefully by us talking about this, again, it gives people a permission slip.
It does.
To allow themselves to be able to do that, because I don't know if it's just me or a lot of people think it's weird to video a funeral, but why is it you video a wedding?
Yeah.
You video a christening.
And also, someone I don't know where I heard this. You have you plan a wedding for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You only have 2 weeks to plan a funeral.
You absolutely
so it really is.
That is such a good point, Jonathan. It really is.
It's a blur.
Yeah.
You know, it's happened so quickly in the grand scheme of things. I mean, sometimes can be even quicker, I suppose, but and longer sometimes. But you generally are kind of, wow, it's just like blink and it's gone, and it's just like, and it's actually quite a significant moment in your life. I think it's a generational thing, and I think now we're just more open.
Oh, we are definitely. A lot of people still say, "Am I okay to take a picture of the hearse?"
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
This is your dad's, your mum's, your auntie, it's your family. It's your family funeral, of course. You don't need my permission.
No, absolutely.
You know, and it's fine to do that.
And it's also like a social media post.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody might have filmed it on the phone and put it up, and because people are so like disconnected from death or scared of death, and they're so scared of it that they kind of block it out and they don't want anything to do with it. But it's coming to all of us. It's not something you can run away from. Yeah. And I think because you haven't got any control over it neither, you know, if you're a controlling, you know, kind of personality, then that again, it can bring up lots of fear and lots of emotions, and, you know, like people go, I don't want to think about it. Yeah. But the problem is when you're not thinking about it and you're not planning, is I go and sit with families, and it could be something simple as music. Or we've got three choices: entrance, reflection, and exit. And then somebody will say, "Oh, what about this? My dad didn't like that." No, this song reminds me of my dad, and there might be an age gap between the children. Yeah. So what they was listening to then to what they were listening to there, and then this big discussion, and you could be half an hour, and you think, if somebody would have just said, "These are the songs that I want," you know, just little things like that. But they seem like a small decision, but when you're in grief, these are big decisions.
Big decisions.
And it's a lot, and it's not just as simple as music. There's all the other things that are tied to planning a funeral as well. Yeah. So, and because, like say, it's in a whirlwind, so many people, I've said it, you said it, I don't remember the funeral. I just don't remember it. So to have that keepsake,
I think
that's a wonderful thing.
It definitely is. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but for anybody who feels like it's something they'd like, but then they feel like they're not allowed to ask for it because they think it's not normal. It is.
Yeah, and
there's no rights and wrongs.
There isn't, and I think with the services, like we're talking about services, you've got, if you're having a religious service, I know more and more religious services are trying to entwine that person into the service, but it is mainly a religious service and the person is not really celebrated. But what people don't understand is you could go and have the religious service with a priest or, you know, minister, and then when you go to the crematorium, you can have a celebrant
as well,
who's going to celebrate that, you know, celebrate that life. Because the other thing that we have difficulty with is the time frame, because at crematoriums you only get 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the difficulty. And what I liked about your videos when you were filming, and the thoughtfulness behind it is, it wasn't just one camera coming down, one shot.
Yeah.
You've got the congregation, you've got everything else. So if you're planning a funeral, people don't realise that you could have something beforehand and then just go to the crematorium, because we have one set up, don't we, with St James's Church.
We certainly do, yeah. So what we do, I don't know if you're aware of it, Jonathan, I don't know if Jane spoke to you about it, but if we find that we've got a family that've got a lot to say, and this person's, it's just not enough time, 20 minutes. So at the crematorium you get 5 minutes to go in, 5 minutes out, and a 20-minute service. We had a meeting with St James Church in Ashton, so me and Jane went up there and we had a chat there, and we came up with an agreement that they would allow us into their church to have a non-religious service, so Jane can go in and then be the celebrant. We've managed to get a TV in there, so we need a slideshow.
Steve Barton, he donated a TV for us, managed to sort the TV, so you can have visual tribute as well.
But we can give the family a full hour rather than having to rush them in and out of the church. And obviously the coffin's there, everything's the same. The only difference is the cremation takes place the day after. Because what we do is we use a company called Birch's Crematorium, that the day after they come and pick the deceased up in a private ambulance, take them to the crematorium in Cheshire, which is very beautiful, cremate the deceased and then bring the ashes back to us. And it's another option, and it's just giving the families extra time. Yeah, because
if you're going to be filming a service, it would probably be quite difficult to navigate. Because you've only got so much time. Would that be an issue?
You need time to set up. I mean, setting up today takes about an hour, but you can do it in about 45 minutes. Setting up the equipment, but obviously at a crematorium that's not an option.
It's not an option at all, because you've got services. It's so unfortunate. I mean, some crematoriums that they give you that extra 10 minutes and it makes a massive difference.
It does.
Because it's like a conveyor belt, isn't it? And it's awful having to rush the families
exactly.
around.
The next family's waiting to go in.
The next family's waiting to go in.
If you're thinking about planning a funeral, you can think, right, okay, so people are not going to be there, or we're going to have this, we've got the keepsake afterwards. You can have a service like at the church with us. We get a full hour, you could go in, set up, have everything, everything would be filmed.
Well, we could have the time to do that.
And then we leave, and the only difference is a lot of the time, if you've left the crematorium, you are leaving the person, and the only difference is that it's going to go somewhere else. It's on the next journey but even when
we found though that families have liked it that way, because they're not seeing the curtains closing, or they're not even though the curtains don't have to be closed anymore, but they know they're not leaving the crematorium and that coffin's going into the back to be cremated. They know the coffin's coming back to work, and then it's going to go without them seeing it the day after. And they've actually preferred it that way. I'm not saying everybody will,
but I think that'd be good. Like, say you want a wedding, a really significant milestone in somebody's life, or a christening, it's videoed. And when you're planning a funeral, like say most of the time, like you just said, it can take 3 years to plan.
Absolutely.
2 weeks to turn, a funeral around. But if you know that that's what you want to do, then
it's there, isn't it?
It's there. It's important.
I mean, obviously we're based in Tameside, but we do cover obviously the whole of Greater Manchester. But I don't know who's going to be watching the podcast. But do you go all over?
I go anywhere. I mean, I do broadcast TV, so I do all kinds of. So I'm used to travelling anywhere ultimately. And effectively what I have is like a mobile TV studio. So like this now. It can go out live as it happens if you want it to. And it can go anywhere. You can do it anywhere really, within reason. I mean, obviously filming somewhere quite far away. It might not make sense for me to do it. There might be another a company nearby that could do it. But the main thing is there's companies like me out there that can. And and it's not me with a team of people. For the funeral service, I set up before everyone arrives. Yeah. And then I take everything down once everyone's left. So no one doesn't even know you're there.
Yeah.
And 2 other services at least, they knew I was there, but they've obviously got other things on their mind on their day. Yeah. So I don't go over and say hello to them because it's a service. And it's not until afterwards they'll say to me, "Oh, all right, you're Jonathan. Yeah. I didn't know where you were. We didn't know where the cameras were.
We didn't even know if you was here."
Yeah. Because they don't look like cameras, these.
No.
And when they're in, a church is quite a busy looking building with lots of architecture, so you don't necessarily notice the cameras. So yes, they don't even realise, most people don't even realise, they know that because it's their decision to live stream the funeral. I've not chosen to go there, and I do say, do you want people's faces on or not? So I do as they wish, but they don't realise that you're there because you're just tucked away in the corner. Yeah.
Are you finding more people are requesting?
It's getting more, and I think it's younger. It's probably more younger people that are involved, younger people involved with the funeral decision process. Because I think someone says, "Should we get it live streamed?" And for people who can't attend, sometimes they've got other relatives who arrive and not physically able to, and they might be elderly themselves and they're not very mobile. Or obviously, it's people around the world. And since 2020 now, people are just a little bit more kind of, I think that's the right thing to do. Yeah. And it's a very strange thing to say, to film something like that initially. I remember filming a Polish funeral about 15 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, but that was, and they said they wanted, and that was because it's a lady who died in the UK and she couldn't be repatriated out, so they wanted the funeral to feel as raw and as natural as possible. And that was very strange. That was very strange and thing to film, but that was almost like a different generation ago. Really.
Definitely.
I think we're much more mindful. I use LinkedIn, and I'll do some warts and all type posts. I won't just say every day is a perfect day. If something's gone wrong, I think we're just more open now about things like that, and we're just more accepting that this is part of life, isn't it? Or life and death.
Yeah. I think because it's a bit it's a very taboo subject, and people don't like talking about it or even discussing it a lot of the time, and that's really what we're here for, is to break down them barriers, to say, the family that are left behind, they've got a lot of choices. So the more decisions that you make, the easier it is going to be for your loved ones when you have passed.
Of course,
that you've got them plans in place, and then you've got the beauty of it. Like you say, if it was filmed, you've got that beauty, and you can think about that. Okay, well, what do I want it to actually look like? Yeah. Do I want people? There's different versions of you, isn't there, in life when you're living. There's a work life. Yeah. So people in work see a different version of you. You're a mum, then or a dad, or whatever role you play. People have their own perception of you, and I think what is really lovely is when people do get up to speak. It's like, I never knew that about my mum. I never knew that about my dad.
We get that
all the time. They go, I didn't know that they'd done that. And it's like, they did this.
My Uncle Peter, when you were talking to him about some of the things that my dad, about his piano playing and things, I'm like, why didn't my dad
Did you not know about that?
Well, not on the scale. My dad told me about when his piano teacher used to hit him with a ruler if he got playing the piano. My dad told me that bit, but my dad would never say. He used to actually play the piano quite a lot afterwards, and in the pub and stuff.
Oh, that'd be because you'd be like, why not?
Yeah.
So anyone who's watching this, and obviously my dad died getting up to 18 months ago, is don't be scared to have those conversations with him about what do you want me to remember you about? Because sometimes, especially the older generations, they feel like they're very proud and they're very kind of respectful, and sometimes they don't tell you these little things about your childhood. So you must have that a lot.
I do. A lot of the time, I'll say to families, look, don't feel bad if you actually don't know. And they'll go, why did I ask?
I know, but that's
why didn't I ask?
Saying,
And they'll go, I don't know who the grandma was. I don't know. I don't know what it was like, what they were like as a child. And, like say brothers and sisters and siblings will come in like we did with our interview. And it's like, did Dad do that? It is really, really interesting. And it's really nice, but we don't we don't have them conversations. We just let life
So
go.
do you have conversations like that with yours?
Yeah. Well, I do now because of the job I do. Because only
But in
because,
general, you wouldn't have sat down and said, well, right, we're going to talk about what I was like as a child.
yeah.
It just doesn't happen, does
Well,
it?
you feel rude, or it feels odd sometimes, but also you forget how fast life goes by.
You do. Time
Yeah.
Well, you were
so
talking about your
fast.
dog tattoo on your leg, and you said your dog's 13 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are. But say, well, I'm 52, so and I've got one pet that we've had for a cat I had for 18 years. He died a couple of years ago, and that's actually a significant part of your life. You imagine your dog. If I'm 52 and if it was my dog, then that dog's been with me for a quarter of my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's a big part of it. And likewise with family members, obviously they're a big part of your life, but you sometimes forget, and you think it's going to go on forever.
Of course,
and my auntie died last year in Jersey, and it was a kind of it was like a real shock to the system.
Yeah.
And she didn't want. I was saying to you before, she had a private cremation. Once she's gone, she's gone.
Yeah.
But you never got the chance to have the conversations with people, and don't be scared of doing that. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think it's important.
The favourite songs. What song would you like playing at your funeral? Or when people say, "Oh, don't ask me stuff like that. It's miserable."
Yeah.
Really, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
It's
And it's having them choices.
it is.
Well, my dad went out to. Well, he went into the church Apache by the Shadows.
Yeah.
And then he went out. He left. Well, we left. The end of the service was Chain Reaction, and Walk of Life was his reflection music in the middle.
Yeah.
Although I must admit, when we were going out at the church, the crematorium, listening to Chain Reaction, I don't know if you listen to the lyrics of Chain Reaction, but a little bit rude.
Yeah. You don't actually get that till you're a bit older. I mean, yeah.
Well, the first thing I said is, obviously it's a difficult time to walk, and I always mask emotion with humour. That's just my nature. And we walked out of the crematorium, and I just went, as I'm listening to certain lyrics, I'm thinking, that's my steps have to change those lyrics when they recovered the song because they're so rude. And you're thinking, but then I'm thinking, actually, that's what my dad would be like, oh, bugger him. I like that song. That's your lasting memory of me, is that song. So it's exactly,
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of a celebration of life, isn't it? Because I've done some funerals where they had Sister Act at the end, and they wanted everybody stood up. With the Sister Act,
and they were so frightened. So we stood at the front and we encouraged everybody. It's okay, come on, and everybody then got up.
Yeah,
and
I did hear one funeral. It was they wanted Somewhere Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz being played, but they picked the wrong song, and instead it was Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. I don't know if that's just a story.
She's going to play that at mine.
I'm going to make sure she goes.
But that's why you always do your checks when you go in with your music, like a music check. Always do your music check. But it's a big part of the service, and I do say to my family, when you're leaving, try and pick something a little bing more uplifting.
Yeah,
because it's been an emotional journey, and music has a massive impact.
Well, you know for a fact it's a difficult, it is. But as soon as that music starts to play, and that coffin's going into that crematorium, you're gone.
Yeah.
It is. So having a nice piece of music at the end to uplift that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so.
But thank you, Jonathan.
Right.
Yeah, it's been really nice. So we do Spoonful of Joy. So every guest are ourselves. What has been your spoonful of joy?
From today or in life?
No, today.
Well, let's have one of each. Let's be
the joy from today is was probably walking. I've got 5 rescue chickens, and it was probably walking away from my chickens as they're all devouring more mealworms. And then just thinking, I really love having chickens.
That's
so nice.
And joy is my overall joy in life is I just get joy from peace of mind. That's all I want in life, peace of mind. If anyone ever says, what do you want? What do you want out of life? Just peace of mind. Don't want lots. Well, it's not so much I want lots of money. I need money to live off, sadly, because that's what I need to pay the mortgage. But I just want peace of mind. And as I'm getting older, I'm really aware of this now. At 52, peace of mind is making sure I've achieved all that I could achieve.
Yes.
Rather than than thinking life lasts forever. And I think that's just that's as you get older.
I think 100%, and I think, like we mentioned before, because of the industry we're in, I'm so much more aware that the inevitable is going to come at one point. And I could not agree with you more. Your peace that you find as you get older, if you can do the work, you know, and you get to a stage where you think, actually, this is so precious. If you break an average life down, if they say average life is 80, you've done 52 summers already, or, you know, whatever age you are, and then later on in life, like, if you break it down like that, you could be like, how many summers have I actually got left?
Exactly.
So am I going to stay stuck in this place where I am, or am I going to try and move forward? And
there's a really good video I've seen. It's on YouTube, so you could possibly put this in the links.
Yeah.
And it's about jelly beans for every day of your life. And it really sums it up. And the first time I saw this video about these jelly beans, and it shows you how little time you really have to do the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Once you take away all of the work, sleep, washing, eating, you realise how small that pile of jelly beans is. When I first saw that, I went out and hired a cleaner. And I've had a cleaner since.
Yeah.
And it sounds very middle class, but I've got a cleaner who comes down 3 hours on a Thursday. Because it's just when you watch something like that, you go, gosh, life is too short to hoover.
Exactly.
I'm
so busy doing all the things that I want to do, I can't fit that in.
And my cleaner likes cleaning, so she enjoys the job.
Yeah,
it's her job, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, that's
I love that. What's your spoonful of joy?
Today?
Yeah.
The fact that you're taking me for dinner. That's my
I can put you in for your eyelashes as well.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, I love having a work one.
To take care of you. And
what's yours, Jen?
my spoonful of joy is actually having this conversation today.
Oh, that's
It
lovely.
is having this conversation and trying to break down barriers and trying to help people to get rid of the taboo about death. And let's talk about it in a positive way. So Richard E. Grant, if you're watching, you've started all this.
We want
We've just twisted it. It's a spoonful of joy, not a bucket full of joy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your openness. And that's round 2 over. Bye bye.
Mine's freezing.